and also the best way to deliver that message. Interpersonal, I have to convince the other to see or to feel or to understand my point of view. So how can I do that? Of course, we can add that part, the moral part, the professional life, etc. That it's very common in our universities. And if all students participate, that is a part. If we share an opinion, an honest opinion, that is a good way of having that idea of soft skills. Then we have an example. This is very common. Your colleague has arrived late. He missed an important meeting, and now you have to do his job. What would you do? Okay, have you ever encountered something similar? And you have to do his or her work. So, real life situation, and we are having that ethical part. And why not? We can share emotions and we can share some ideas that are beyond the simple grammar or beyond having language skills. We are also using soft skills. Another activity are presentations, oral presentations and posters. It is very common that we use that in our higher education institutions, and we have that presentation based on students' specific professional orientation, or in another way that they can share something that is relevant to them, maybe their academic orientation. And the goals normally that we have in oral presentations are very common to improve oral skills, understanding and producing the language. But at the same time, students can work in a very efficient way to have that communicative aim, and of course, the effectiveness of their message. It is not the same to talk to your partner than to talk to the group or to talk to a group of people in general. And this is something that we use a lot, but remember, in this case, we are also activating soft skills. That point that is related to be tolerant and to be able to cope with frustration, because it is very common for our students that they cannot deliver exactly the message that they want. So they use supplementary skills and they avoid frustration because they have different ways of solving that communicative problem. Here we have an example that is a very common example in our classes. You love your country and you want to share with your classmates what you love most. That is very common in these days with the Day of the Dead, etc. Traditions, Mexican traditions. And, well, why not to create a presentation in which you share what you love and you explain why you love that. And at the same time, we are using our cultural awareness, we are raising cultural awareness, and we are giving our students the opportunity to interact and to understand diversity. Because maybe for my family, Day of the Dead is very important, but for other family, that's not that important. Maybe Christmas, why not? Or maybe a place is the most important part for that classmate. So we are sharing different cultures, and we are using not only, as we said, language competences, but also we are using cognitive and metacognitive skills, and we are using the communication not just with the factual sense of it, but also with that emotional element involved. So if we talk about the thing we like, we work in a healthier socio-emotional learning environment. Another activity is writing, free writing. We know that when we write in a really freer way, we feel more, we can feel the content, we can manipulate the content. And some of the most common writings we have when we are in the professional world, or when we are living our safe universities, are cover letters, emails, official requests, reports, and sometimes complaints. When we use appropriate language resources in these writing activities, students can solve the communicative problem, but also they can use real-life elements that improve their motivation and also the way in which they interact and have those communication skills. Here you have an example that is very common. In fact, we have used that in our everyday life. Okay, you buy, in this case, a book online or something online, and maybe from a Chinese distributor. And you haven't received that, and it's not the item you ordered. Okay, write an email explaining the problem. Now we can analyze, and this is very common in our everyday or settings. Yes, complaint letters. And yes, in English. So, and if we ask our students, sometimes they have the same idea. Oh no, I have to write this, and I use artificial intelligence. But is that correct? Is that giving the message, problem-solving skills, and why not ethics and morals? Another one that is very common are role plays. When we have a role play, we are not ourselves, but we have like a mask. And we can use the soft skills in a safer way because it is not Gabriela talking, but the character in the role play. And in this case, well, we can have simulation. When we use simulation, we can become the new character and use the communicative skills according to that role. That improves interpersonal skills and critical thinking. And of course, in a safer environment, talking about the effective part of communication is not Gabriela talking, but is Ms. Ladrón de Guevara that is in a job interview. Can you check the difference? And another, for this activity, we have something that happens in our classrooms a lot, that you are working on your English final project. And the due date is tomorrow. That is the example of the activity. Okay, but you have 3 students working together and you have different roles. You are not yourselves, but you are other people. Student A want to finish the task as soon as possible. Very common, no? Students B, okay, you want a better grade. And student C, okay, you are in love. Okay, you want to be with that person and the project is not relevant for you. That is very realistic. It has happened a lot. And normally our students are working. Okay, if we have to deliver this task by midnight, I'm finishing that at 10:30 p.m. So if they can use this background knowledge from their own life, they are using their soft skills to have that communicative task. They solve a problem, and of course, if it is something that is closer to the reality, they feel motivated, and the emotional part is more relevant for them. They feel more receptive to have that use of the soft skills. And if we orientate our students towards that objective, it is easier. And they are using their soft skills and not only their language competencies. Well, we have some conclusions. It's focused on students' needs. So when we are teaching a language, in fact, when we are teaching in general, is to address students' needs. When we are teaching a language, well, our main goal are students' needs. And communication is a process, and soft skills play an important role when we are talking about language learning, language appropriacy, and language acquisition. Of course, but they can be defined as a combination of self-awareness, cultural awareness, interpersonal skills, and verbal and non-verbal communication skills. Well, we would use them to get an expected behavior, normally in the business area, but also in the academic settings. Yes, in this very moment, we are following our soft skills, and we are having certain behavior that is used for this kind of academic events. And it is a very natural way of using our soft skills in real life. When we have the soft skills, each of the elements that they have are essential to create good relationships, not only among people, but also when we use them and we have the context and we have the culture and we have the language, we have an harmonic situation and a harmonic relationship, not only in our learning community, but also wider in the neighborhood community. Those are unwritten rules of behavior, and well, the activities presented are simple, very easy to use, and with the most important material we have in our classroom, that is our students' own use of the soft skills. And if we are aware of the use of the soft skills in our classrooms, we can promote their use, and we can promote our students' acquisition of soft skills in a more explicit way. Well, those are my conclusions, and here you have some references. Any question, comment, something that you would like to share?
We have 4 minutes for questions.
Yes, Dania?
Yes, hello everybody. Well, first of all, I really think that what you share with us today is really, really interesting. I'm a teacher who is always interested in my students' learning. And what I like the most is that you tell us or give us some techniques in order to achieve our personal goals as teachers. Well, first of all, I really like to express that as I am an English teacher, sometimes the books are not having the topics or the students' interest we need in our classes. And I have faced this problem sometimes. I work at a university, and well, of course, sometimes the instructions are like, you have to talk about how was your job, maybe, no? And I am like, come on, I am working with university students. They are not working. So sometimes I have to change these activities. I remember once we were working with past simple structure. And of course, grammar is important, but at the end, I think the most important is how to use it in a real life situation. So I remember I had to change the activity from the book with my students. And at the end, I asked them to tell me what happened in the last party they went, maybe, no? So students got really, really interested in that class, I remember, and they got fun as well. So I think sometimes it is not like too important to follow activities from the books, because we as teachers, we are asked to follow the book or to use a specific book. So, well, just like a recommendation, sometimes try to change those activities in order to accomplish our objectives, and as well as having students' interests.
Yes, indeed. It is a very good example of the use of soft skills in the classroom And we are using them to raise students' awareness of their own situation, their own culture, and also their own practices, maybe outside the classroom. Yes, it is a very good example. Okay. Any other comment?
I think that we don't have more time. So thank you very much, Gabriela Ladrón de Guevara, for sharing with us this important topic for those who are dedicated to work of teaching languages and having allowed us to update our knowledge regarding this topic. Thank you.
Thank you very much.